Okay. Don't fall. So I filmed this already, like days ago, but it was really, really rambly and weird. So I decided to do redo. I was admittedly pretty sick at the time. I don't know what made me think I could do a whole, like, coherent video whilst having the flu. I mean, it's probably the flu. Brooklyn Nine-Nine had its whole, like, cancellation and uncancellation hoopla back in, April. And now I want to talk about it in September. Because I'm nothing if not a connoisseur of the latest trends. A farmer of hot topics. I am Hot Topic. You want a Pickle Rick shirt? Is Hot Topic even, like, still a thing? Does it still exist, or did it go the way of Toys R Us? Oh, it's still here. Oh. Incredible. Okay, back on the actual topic with the Brooklyn of the Nine-Nine. Let us begin with the obvious. I am black. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a show about cops. Black people and cops have a sort of, let's call it a complicated relationship. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a decent show. I watch it pretty regularly, I'm up to date with it, and honestly I kind of look forward to season 5, which could not come soon enough. The longer this hiatus is, the more embarrassing y'all get. Like, oh my god, why can't you like things normally? But anyway, I watch the show, and I do enjoy it, even though I know that it's pretty blatant cop propaganda. You know, I have enough brain cells to not fall for it. I know how I feel about cops. Your funny ha-ha cop show won't change my opinion. Like, I don't care how cute Jake and Amy are, how lovely Kevin and Holt are. Just a great couple. I don't care how good of a father Terry is. Fuck 12. But let's move back. Let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about the birth of the American police force. I'm only focusing on the American police force because that's kind of the hot topic. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is set in the States, and let's be real, the US police force is pretty much the ones to watch out for. In colonial times, that's right, colonial times, the police were very informal and mostly volunteer-based. There were people involved in something called a night watch, and they would look out for the other colonists involved in sex work or gambling. That system wasn't very efficient, however, because a lot of the people who did the night watch were people who were made to do it by punishment. Criminals, or general no-good people. And when they weren't criminals, these watchmen would often sleep or get drunk on duty, which is also bad. It wasn't a really popular job at all. And the people who were put on duty as punishment often wouldn't wear the badge because it wasn't really a good look. You don't want your other crook friends to know that you're a cop. There were also rich people who'd hired these goons to protect their property, who were sort of police, but they were mostly like security. And as the nation grew, the nation of America, every state had its own special police type deal. In cities, the night watch system pretty much fell apart because cities were just way too big, and the volunteer system was just not feasible. The first formal police force was founded in Boston, shocker, in 1838. And they were mostly used to protect merchandise and make sure goods got to where they needed to go, because Boston was a pretty large shipping center at the time. So basically their whole job was just to protect the payload. Topical references. I'm cool. However, in the South, yes, it's time to talk about the South. Police were basically just used to preserve the slavery system. Oh no! Oh, my legs. Can't hold them crossed for too long. I'm so old. They chased down runaways, they prevented revolts. The military even became the primary law enforcement in the South. Many local sheriffs functioned pretty much the same way as early slave patrols, in that they preserved segregation and continued the disenfranchisement of freed slaves. Police always been dirty. They started dirty, they kept being dirty. I don't care how many people scream not all cops or there are a lot of good cops. I saw something online where, like, if you were surrounded by snakes and you were told that only 10% of them were deadly poisonous, are you not still terrible? Even 5%, I would lose it. The way I see it, there really are no good cops, because if you were a good person, you wouldn't be a cop. Whoa, yeah, I said it. Hot take. Now that we know that about the police, now that we've lock that in, let's talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine again. People like to laud Brooklyn Nine-Nine for its representation, which, okay, it's not really warranted, but okay. Brooklyn Nine-Nine can't be racist. They got black cops, they got Latin American cops. What more do you coloreds want? I mean, it wouldn't have killed them to have a black woman somewhere in the cast. It's weird that there isn't one. And I don't remember seeing a whole lot of Asian characters in the show. You know, Unless they need to be there to do something with computers. Yeah, sure. It's not racist. My take, black people doing police work is not representation. It's not good representation. I want to see people who look like me on TV and in movies, but I don't want to see them do bad things or have them be in a bad profession. That's not... Is that what I want? Black cops, Latin American cops, all cops of cocks, if you will, are, in my opinion, because I always have to say my opinion, they are a representation of real life class traders. Because that's what non-white police officers are. Class traders. Their fellow officers, the white ones, they wouldn't think twice about gunning down people who look just like them. But I mean, you don't want to gun down the ones who have a badge. That'll get you in trouble. But okay, yeah, sure, whatever, fam. Pretend you're on equal ground, that's fine. To be fair, Brooklyn Nine-Nine did go into that one a smidge. The time when Terry was arrested by that one white cop, and the white cop apologized by saying that he wouldn't have done it had he known Terry was a cop, which is messed up, but they got into that. In their count one, episode about racial injustice within the police. Like, that was fine, but it wasn't enough. It's not nearly enough. But I'm not saying they need to make more. I don't really want to see more. It's fine, but it's weird. Like, it's like if Star Trek only did one episode in space. Racism is just so ingrained in the American police force that even writing a show about cops and not going into racism pretty much constantly feels like a lie. Like, it feels like you're burying it. It's weird. I don't want Brooklyn Nine-Nine to constantly talk about racism because, let's be real, these white writers would screw it up and we'd have Hitchcock or Scully saying the N-word and we'd be done by season 2. It's just weird to have black and Latina cops just like existing without fighting something inside of them, you know? Or just being horrible people. You can't be non-white and a police officer and not be either fighting an internal battle pretty much every day, or giving in and just being just as bad as your white counterparts. That's how I feel. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. That's just... Let's talk about the LGBT rep of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Well, it's gay and that's great. They established it early. It's a thing that matters a lot to him as a character, which is terrific. He has a rainbow flag on his desk. It's great. Rose is bi and I'm hype. Gina Rodriguez is here. Whoa now! Oh yeah, good. Except now we're back to the whole class traders thing. There are gay cops and bi cops and trans cops, sure. But if you think that makes any kind of difference to gay, bi, and trans civilians, then you're out your damn mind. I'm not gonna go into the Stonewall riots because I'm gonna leave something out, or I'm gonna not get into it as much as it deserves. I suggest you Google it. I suggest you look into just how much homophobic police violence played a part in the current LGBT rights movement. It's a pretty big part, just saying. Hashtag no cops we pray. Holt and Rosa just feel like appeasements to me. Just, you know, for the writers to just throw in and have stick around so that the gays don't get all buck wild over a lack of representation, which I feel like we still deserves a little bit of buck wild, because it's not like one gay guy and one bi woman is some kind of beacon of representation. That's it? What? I mean, we don't really know what Gina Rodriguez's character is, but still, she's not gonna be a regular. Unless she is, that would be great. One gay lead character or one bi lead character is hardly much of anything in the age of Pose, of the Fosters, rest in peace, I'll miss you, and Jane the Virgin. None of these are perfect, of course, but they're doing a hell of a lot better. They have more than one for each demographic. Even Glee had more than one, and you know you're not doing so hot when you're doing worse than Glee. Brooklyn Nine-Nine also has had some problems in terms of being super duper offensive. Whenever they make Holt act like a straight guy, he says stuff about boobs and vagines, when that's sexist. I am cisgender, but even I know this. Not all women have boobs. Not all women have vagines. A straight man would still be straight, even if he were with a woman who didn't have these parts. It's like, can we just please understand that now? It's 2018, you guys. There's this line that Jake said when he was in prison, where he said that all homophobes are secretly gay. Are you an idiot? No. Some are. Some straight people make up the huge huge majority of homophobes.
What?
Way to blame gay people for their own oppression, you dick. That line was just cruel and stupid and just a total cop-out for homophobic straight people. Cop-out. Now I want to talk about a recent episode, one Sterling K. Brown was in. Oh wow, he's fine. I just looked him up real quick to make sure I got his name right. My god. Damn it. My man Sterling was interrogated because white-ass Jake felt it in his gut that he was guilty. He just had like a strong hunch that the dark-skinned black man did it. He for sure did it, even though Jake had zero evidence and even fabricated evidence to get this guy to confess. Like, he lied to the guy. This is a very, very common police tactic and not funny. Who is at the door? Up until the last few minutes of the episode, neither Jake nor the audience have any reason to believe that he did it. We're just supposed to assume that Jake is right because he's our hero, and we're just gonna trust that he knows what he's doing and that he's right. The same way cops often expect us to just trust that they have our best interests at heart. And then, right at the end of the episode, Jake is like, I love this job, and goes right back into the precinct. I hate that, because regardless of the horrifically unethical methods he used, the point is, he got the guy. And that's all that matters, even though just hours before, he had no clue that it was him. He just forced it. And it turned out he was right, because it's his show. And in real life, this wouldn't have worked at all. Like, I know the Sterling character did it, but I mean, where's your evidence? Oh, you're gonna lie about it, cool. That was incredibly hurtful. And it's so hard to explain why. Like, if you don't get it, you probably never will. Ever since I was a kid, I have felt anxious and frightened when I saw the police. I was always so careful so I don't look like a particularly threatening little black girl. I just look straight ahead, walk by with my heart just hammering in my ears, begging them to let me go home. They never bothered me, but they could have. They very well could have. I still feel that way now as a grown-ass lady in the streets of London. I don't know if the London police are any different. I don't know. I can't afford to risk it. And I know what you're thinking. It's not that deep. You're reaching. It's just a show. But it's not just a show. Bruh, nothing is just anything in media, because guess what, mother? Media doesn't exist in a vacuum, which means it affects the outside. Just like the real world affects TV. If you absorb any kind of media, I need you to wrap your head around that. I need you to get it, because that'll answer like all of the questions that you have. This stuff is real. This stuff happens. And there's sure as hell no clean ending or commercial break. It's so disorienting to watch police on TV be all fun, goofy chuckle times, and then hear about the woman, the police officer who shot a black man dead because she thought he was an intruder in her home, when in reality, she walked into his home. I can't feel completely comfortable watching Rosa and Holt hug in big gay cop solidarity, knowing that police this year arrested LGBT protesters in front of Stonewall. A show like Brooklyn Nine-Nine doesn't add anything to the cultural landscape. It might even be making things worse. It makes cops seem like good, decent people when we basically have an almost constantly growing mountain of evidence that tells us otherwise. So, I mean, fine, enjoy your funny little cop show. I do, most of the time, even if I'm pretty uncomfortable. When it's over, I'm back in the real world, and I remember that I cannot trust the police. I don't care if they're black, I don't care if they're gay, they still have the power to turn me and people who look like me into a hashtag, and they can get away with it so easily. Jake Peralta could gun me down and get away with it. That's that on that. Also, the fat jokes with Hitchcock and Scully are actually getting kind of, crappy. Everyone else is largely thin or athletic or jacked or average. They're the only ones who are like actually fat, so